A basilisk is a centuries-old creature of myth with European origins. In European bestiaries and legends, a basilisk is a legendary reptile reputed to be a serpent king who causes death to those who look into its eyes. This monster is believed to be a hybrid of a rooster, serpent, and toad, but its origins can also include a lizard, dragon, or chicken depending on the story. Though the exact abilities and details of the basilisk vary throughout history, it is usually assumed that this beast possesses powers that leave its very gaze deadly. One moment of eye contact with the basilisk is enough to kill a person. Other powers it is thought to wield include lethal breath and venom so potent that the basilisk can cause death without even biting its victims. The basilisk is often considered to be evil incarnate. The origins of the basilisk. The name originates from the Greek term basiliskos, meaning a kinglet, a kind of snake. Historically, snakes are considered symbols of evil or the devil. In Christian symbolism in particular, a serpent convinced Eve in the Garden of Eden to damn all of humanity. Basilisk mythology throughout history remains equally ominous. This mythological beast could kill someone simply by meeting their gaze. A bite from the basilisk was also a sure way to die, though the creature's venom was believed to be so powerful that it could cause death without biting its victim at all. One myth of the basilisk leaves a horse-mounted man and his horse dead after the basilisk venom traveled up the spear the man used to defeat the creature. Such a formidable creature leaves plenty of terror in its wake, especially since it cannot be easily defeated. One almost universally agreed upon way to take down a basilisk is to get it to look at its own reflection, turning its murderous gaze upon itself. Many opponents of the basilisk, including Alexander the Great and St. George, were rumored to go up against it armed with mirrors on their shields or clothing. It was also believed that the basilisk could die from the crow of a rooster. Isidore of Seville, a Hispano-Roman scholar, defined the basilisk as the king of snakes because of its lethal glare and poisonous breath. The Venerable Bede was the first to attest to the legend of the birth of a basilisk from an egg laid by an old cockerel, with other authors adding the condition of Sirius being ascendant. One of the earliest accounts of the basilisk comes from Pliny the Elder's Natural History, written in roughly 79 AD. He describes the katoblepas, a monstrous cow-like creature of which all who behold its eyes fall dead upon the spot, and then goes on to say, there is the same power also in the serpent called the basilisk. It is produced in the province of Cyrene, being not more than 12 fingers in length. It has a white spot on the head, strongly resembling a sort of diadem. When it hisses, all the other serpents fly from it, and it does not advance its body, like the others by a succession of folds, but moves along upright and erect upon the middle. It destroys all shrubs not only by its contact, but those even that it has breathed upon it burns up all the grass too, and breaks the stone, so tremendous is its noxious influence. To this dreadful monster, the effluvium of the weasel is fatal, a thing that has been tried with success, for kings have often desired to see its body when killed. So true is it that it has pleased nature that there should be nothing without its antidote. The animal is thrown into the hole of the basilisk, which is easily known from the soil around it being infected. The weasel destroys the basilisk by its odor, but dies itself in this struggle of nature against itself. Albertus Magnus, in the De Animalibus, wrote about the lethal gaze of the basilisk, but he denied other legends, such as the rooster hatching the egg. He gave as the source of those legends Hermes Trismegistus, who is credited also as the creator of the story about the basilisk's ashes being able to convert silver into gold. According to the tradition of Cantabrian mythology, the ancient basiliscu has disappeared from most of the earth, but still lives in Cantabria, although sightings are rare. This creature is born from an egg laid by an old rooster just before its death, exactly at midnight on a clear night with a full moon. Within a few days, the eggshell, which is soft and leathery rather than hard, opens to reveal the strange creature, which already has all the features of an adult: legs, beak, coxcomb, and a reptilian body. Apparently, the creature has an intense and penetrating fire in its eyes, such that any animal or person gazing directly upon it would perish. The weasel is the only animal that can face and even attack it. The basilisk can only be defeated by the crowing of a rooster, so until very recently, travelers carried a rooster when venturing into areas where it was said that basilisks lived. A basilisk is said to have terrorized the inhabitants of Vilnius, Lithuania, during the reign of the King of Poland and Grand Duke Sigismund August. In his book, Facies Rerum Sarmaticarum, 17th century Vilnius University historian Professor Adam Ignacy Naramowski describes how boughs of rue, a plant believed to have the power to repel basilisks, were lowered into the creature's lair. The first two boughs turned white, indicating that the creature remained alive, but the third bow retained its characteristic green color, indicating the basilisk had been defeated. 19th century historian Theodorus Narbutas claimed the location of the creature's lair was at the intersection of Boxto, Subacius, and Bastajos streets, near Subacius Gate. Legend has it the basilisk haunts the bastion of the city wall located there. The basilisk appears in the English Revised Version of the Bible in Isaiah 14:29, where the prophet exhorts the Philistines, "Rejoice not, O Philistia, all of thee, because the rod that smote thee is broken. For out of the serpent's root shall come forth a basilisk, and his fruit shall be a fiery flying serpent." The King James Version of the Bible states, "Out of the serpent's root shall come forth a cockatrice, and his fruit shall be a fiery flying serpent." We find another mention in Psalm 91:13, which reads, "You will tread on the asp and the basilisk, and you will trample the lion and the dragon underfoot." In the King James Version, this is translated as, "Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under feet." Other modern versions, such as the New International Version, use cobra for the basilisk, aligning it with the Hebrew pethan, meaning snake. The basilisk appears in the Septuagint and the Latin Vulgate, but is absent from most English translations, leading to its depiction in early medieval art as Christ treading on beasts. St. George is often depicted defeating and trampling a dragon or basilisk. Examining these depictions, the creature's size and characteristics suggest it is more likely a basilisk than a dragon, which would typically be larger than a horse. In basilisk legends, it is often said that a knight defeated the creature, but died from venom reaching the top of his spear, which is consistent with St. George holding a spear. However, there is no historical evidence supporting this interpretation. The basilisk is also mentioned in the inscription on the Kosovo marble column, a poem and epitaph by Stefan Lazarevic, the despot of Serbia, chronicling the Battle of Kosovo. The Serbian army is praised for defeating Amurat and his son, spawns of viper and adder, whelps of lion and basilisk. Bram Stoker also alludes to the basilisk in Chapter 4 of his 1897 novel Dracula, when Jonathan Harker encounters Count Dracula in his crypt. "A terrible desire came upon me to rid the world of such a monster. There was no lethal weapon at hand, but I seized a shovel which the workmen had been using to fill the cases, and lifting it high, struck, with the edge downward, at the hateful face. But as I did so, the head turned, and the eyes fell upon me, with all their blaze of basilisk horror. The sight seemed to paralyze me, and the shovel turned in my hand and glanced from the face, merely making a deep gash above the forehead." So, is the basilisk real, or merely a symbol of evil? Its consistent portrayal across various texts and art suggests it symbolizes the triumph of good over evil, rather than a real creature.